I'm trying to put money in your pocket, that crypto wallet, that bing bada bing ching ching big profit. Even when the market's sideways, I'm looking for ways to get paid. I'm checking my coins around breakfast, then again around bedtime. Bet this, it's not financial advice, but I'm always right. 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 I'm always right.
What is going on, true believers? I hope you're having a good morning. My name is Bleeves. We're here to talk about this crazy crypto market. And guess what? We've had a nice little run this morning. We're up about $75 billion on the day, which means that the recovery is underway. Let's talk about it. Let's get into it. Again, as we keep going, we're making changes to the channel. We're figuring things out along the way. By the way, let me introduce, because if you don't have one, I don't know what's wrong with you, but fart coin's up 20, which means that the butthole is exploding, and that is true. It's up about 30% on the day. So if you have butthole coin, shout out to you, because I might have a nice little run along with fart coin, which has now passed bonk for the number 5 meme coin. Crazy to think that something like that is happening, but here we are. So as you can see from the market, Telcoin up 20.5%, Casp up 12.6%, Tau up 8.2%, Pepe having a good day, up 7.2%, IMX 16.1%, Bonk 8.8%, and then an important one, which is over here. That's Crow. Crow is up almost 10% today. You might be asking yourself, what's going on with Crow? Crow has a partnership with the Trump administration, and they've just announced that they are finalizing an ETF. And that's going to be a big move for, I think, both for crypto.com and for Trump. And it could be a signal for something. Is it going to be today? Well, I don't know about that, but it will be over the next couple of days as we get some of this stuff kind of fleshed out. But we'll talk about that in a few minutes. In the second tier, we've got White up 46.8, Popcat 26.2, Deep up 20.7. We've got Turbo up 17%, Giga up 17%. Basically, if you have a Solana meme coin right now, it should be moving quite a bit. If it's not, something wrong with that project. Okay. And it might just be discovery. I'm not saying there's anything bad wrong with the project, just not discovered yet. Audio up 16.6%, Ink up 16.8%, Bio up 17.3%. The big one today, GFI up 38.3%. Big move there. ABT is up 19.5%. Again, you can see Magic, Alio, WCT, Myth. There are some projects that have a little downside momentum. Clankers up 23.6. Over here we got TT, which is up 36.8. Broccoli down about 10%. Some of these things not moving in unison, but hey, here we are. Good green pumps for most of the day. That's what we want to see. That's what we've been looking for. So hopefully, fingers crossed, we're going to continue to see that over the next bunch of days. But let's talk about the rest of the market, because yeah, baby. All right. So Tima is up 30% as well. So shout out to Tima. So the big news of the day, Paul Atkins has been officially sworn in and confirmed as the SEC chairman. So this, in fact, is a gigantic move, because Paul Atkins is a devout crypto bro. So anything crypto related, and there are now 70 different crypto filings that will need to be approved. One of them, by the way, for anybody who's wondering, where is it? Right here. DevE. One of those filings is DevE. So get excited about that one. European Central Bank fears contagion risk. By the way, this is exactly why you can't trust these people. Okay. Just consider this right now. What you've got right now is a market that's desperate for news to FUD crypto. The Democratic Party, they hate cryptocurrency. You know that. There are some of them, the original libertarians, the actual classic neoliberal part of the Democratic Party. They, of course, love Bitcoin because it represents freedom. freedom from prying eyes, et cetera, et cetera. It's the real libertarian principle here that's on display. But the newer Democratic Party, run by the far left, they don't feel the same way. So here you have an article from Politico, of course, that the ECB fears contagion risk from Trump's crypto embrace. MiCA rules may not be strong enough. So, and they're just kind of wilding out, trying to fudge your bag. They're basically just trying to fudge your bag. And, that's where we are. So let's get into what is going on right now with the charts. All right, so here we go. First of all, market up $75 billion on the day. I expect to see a rejection somewhere at this 2.7 trillion mark right here. I don't know that we're not going to surge above it. We've done that before. But as you can see right here, we've had this downward trend for a long time. We've finally broken out. That does mean that the reversal is in, or at least it should mean the reversal is in. And not only that, but we've had confirmation and a back test on it so far. If you come down into like a 4 hour, you can see the move out and you can see a back test, that's just a confidence builder. Okay. So when you look at this overall, then you did have that bounce, you did have that move back up. Now you're having a little bit of some downward momentum. Again, I think 2.79 is going to be that number. I should have put a volume profile over here. Bleeves, you idiot. I forgot to put VRVP up here. Oh well. Anyway, RSI starting to get a little bit hot here on the daily, by the way. So, again, I would expect if we get a surge, if we get a nice little surge, I would expect 3 trillion before this cools down. But then, of course, we're going to cool down back to this, 50 sort of range. So we'll see what happens over the next little while. Let's talk about Bitcoin. So what did we predict yesterday? We went long on Bitcoin. So now let's go look at what we did and how we've done so far. So we did not book an order, by the way, for Bitcoin. Okay. And we hit our profit target on Solana. So if you guys remember what we did, we had all right, so order detail here. We closed our long right here. Our realized profit was $4.10, which means off of $25, we got a nice. This is not bad. I mean, of course you want to see something ridiculous, but our goal here was a nice little profit. I gave you 143. I said, let's just, go with the impulse move. And guess what? It triggered it. We got a few bucks off of it. Now I used, by the way, remember, $25. So off that $25, we scored a big win. We now have almost $30 off of just that one. Let's go back in and let's look at the next one, because the other one that I was doing was Ethereum. And we've got that position still open right now. That profit is sitting at about 10.65%. Now, our take profit, we did not set a take profit. I think I stopped at that point and said, you know what, we're going to let that one probably ride just a little bit because we're not into it for very much. We're waiting for Ethereum to actually have a move. But I think what we'll do is we'll set this for a, let's do the full, and then let's do the return rate of 20%. So 1669, we get to 20. You know what? Let's do 35. We're going to do 35%. That's going to be $1.68. It's not going to be a big win, but it's going to be confirmation that we made a good decision. So we're going to close that in the event that we get a little bit of a surge right now, and we'll see what happens there. Do you watch Crypto Face? He does like 20 million size longs and shorts. That's crazy. That is absolutely crazy. We're going to build $100 into like $1 million, though. You know what I mean? So we'll see whether or not we get there. Now, the open orders that we still have a Bitcoin open order set for 84,600. Doesn't look like we're going to hit that. So we're going to cancel that out for the moment. And then we've got OM sitting at 50 cents, and we're waiting for an order based on that one right now to fill. And I got a sense here that it might even fill. If you look at, if you look at the position on OM, there's a possibility of some downside momentum that might take us into that. Now, we were sitting at 53 cents, but it broke down to like 48 not that long ago. And by the way, I bought some more this morning. I'll show you that one as well. We did that on KCEX, one of my other partners. And so we now have 938 OM worth $497. Now, why am I continuing to be bullish? Now, first of all, it's not a this is not a leverage position at all. This is just a spot bag. I just bought a few OM, and now I've become obsessed with what I think is going to be the recovery of OM. And the fundamentals look really good. So we're buying that. I'll show you on the chart in just a few moments why I'm so bullish on it, but we bought some more OM. Now, Bitcoin is breaking out above that previous level right there. That was what we thought was going to be the top. It's not the top, so we'll remove that. Now, we need to find out, like, where are we going to go? And the next impulse right here is back into our little box. Now, if you remember, we had this nice little frame here not that long ago. Starts at around 91,000 right there. And it takes us up into this 100,000 range right about there. Right there. All right. So there's our box between 91,000 and 100,000. So that's what I think that's our next recovery. This is the zone that we were in not that long ago. We get a break above that. It's going to look fantastic. But right now, it looks like we are on track to punch into it. It's now up $81 billion on the day. So it looks like crypto, we're in a buy mode. By the way, Dow Jones up 661 points on the day. Still don't have this CME futures gap right here that's still wide open. So I would expect to see a surge up into the 41, almost 42,000 range for the Dow in the next, I mean, it'll take a few days to get there, but we've got some futures gaps that are still open. So I would expect to see that recovery. And by the way, the American investors, they want to see success. They want to see this stuff happen. So we'll find out whether or not we're right about it. Fingers crossed. By the way, Solana starting to surge, up 5.5% on the day. This breakout is real. Remember what I told you guys yesterday, and this is what we did. By the way, if you guys remember, what we did is we took that buy, we got our buy in, and then what did we do? We took that and said, let's go for the surge. It's going to come up here. That's why we ended up in that spot. You know what I mean? So that's a really good look. If you had put in 250, you made 40. If you put 2,500, you made 400. If you put in 25,000, you made 4,000. This was an easy win. I gave you an easy win yesterday. I hope that you took advantage of it. And I hope you did it at Weeks or KCEX, because those are the partners. So sign up at Weeks, sign up at KCEX. Guys, here's the thing, to give you guys just a kind of an example of what I'm looking to do at this point, okay? I like doing promo videos. I'm going to continue to do promo videos, but what I want is to not need to do those videos anymore. And currently, I still have to take jobs that I sometimes don't like. All right, and that's the truth. That's why I'm here. That's if everybody here was a member of the channel. By the way, if we had subscribed, and by the way, we're going to start doing our setups in YouTube. I don't know if it's going to be effective. I don't know if that's going to work, because I need engagement on Twitter, or, I need engagement in other places. So we might do that. And then 6 hours later, we'll release it to the public or something like that. You know what I mean? But if you're a member of the channel, you're going to get like some private signals here on YouTube instead of in Telegram or instead of anything like that. I think that's going to be that's going to be the move. His dream is I think Matty B says he wants to wrestle me. Cool. Actually, what I think he says is that I want to be a wrestler, and I do not want to be a wrestler. At 18 years old, my uncle, by the way, I have an uncle who's a wrestler. So that was, I got to work out with some famous people when I was a kid. I got to go to, I got the curtains were pulled back for me at a very young age on wrestling. It is not for me. It is not for me. I'm just a fan who's going to watch and enjoy the show. You know what I mean? So, but anyway, let's get back to it, because the number one today is Bitcoin. Bitcoin about to bust into that range. Now, why is that happening? Well, Bitcoin open interest has climbed to 58 billion. And that is a big, big number. So the open interest climbs to 58 billion, what it means for the Bitcoin price. Now, Bitcoin open interest data has always helped shape the price of the top coin. Currently, CoinGas data pegs the open interest at 58.7 billion over 24 hours, known to fall to a multi-year low earlier this year. The open interest has finally reset on optimism that the coin may be decoupling from the stock market. So we've seen the stock market decline. We've seen Bitcoin hold firm. That means institutional adoption is really feeling nice. We're really looking at this as a crazy sort of, you know what, it could work. And that's coming from institution at this point. So many have predicted the Bitcoin price is on track to chart new growth trends despite the US-China trade war, and the coin has found a level of solidity. So there you have it. This is what's going on. Bitcoin, possibly institutional adoption, possibly the inflow, the capital inflow that's coming from the ETFs, which, by the way, the flow in yesterday was 4.48 thousand Bitcoin, which is 381. Big positive day after a lot of negative flow. The Ethereum ETF, by the way, massive outflow still. We're still just not catching on with Ethereum. Okay, still not on fire, but that's going to come, and there is a reason for it. We're going to actually talk about that in just a short period of time. But Bitcoin. So what would I look for if you are looking for a trade setup? All right, you've got this kind of, let's just assume that the surge at this point probably going to find its way into this zone right there, and we're going to get to that 91,000. It's going to reject hard at 91,000. The reason that you're going to reject hard at 91,000, let's zoom out here and get a higher time frame, is because there's going to be a lot of sell orders that are going to be set up in this range. There's going to be a lot of sell orders that are going to be in this range. It's going to be a lot of sell orders. So with that many sell orders kind of sitting around in that range, then there will be a struggle. So this would be your opportunity, assuming we hit 91,000, for you to short Bitcoin, perhaps. Here's the problem, okay? The problem is you don't have much range. And let me illustrate what I'm talking about here. I think that we're in the bull. We're at the start of this bull market. Okay, we're at the start of this cycle. So if that plays out the way I think it's going to play out, then if we just take this right here, that was the surge, that was the impulse. You can see that it only came down to that 382, right? You extend this out just a little bit more, and you say, well, let's just say that was the surge right there. Well, then it gets closer to the 0.5. You know, the further up you go, the more it, it kind of matches up with where you want to see it. You know what I mean? So if we just kind of this surge right here, right like that, then I would suspect that you could have a chance to short at 91,000. So if you're going to set a buy order, 91,000, and I would just fully take profit right here at 88,335, because that's probably the best opportunity that you're going to get short term. I do think that we're in the bullish phase of the market. So, normally I would tell you that, a big move down into 86, 87 would be on tap. And if you look at the liquidity heat map, that might be the case, because that's around 87. But again, the market is the market, and I think that we're very, very positive right now. So could you see a nice move down here after this? Yes, but I would be happy right there. You know what I mean? I would be happy right there. Now you love Trump. No, I do not. I do not. The one thing you will find is I am consistent in my disdain for Donnie Ding Dong. I'm not a fan. I will never be a fan. Okay. I will, by the way, be a grown up enough to recognize the difference between policy and I don't like people with weird playing in girls' moves. I don't like, I'm not a homunculus. So I'm not going to do ignorant stuff. I'm not going to, this is not me. Socially, I'm probably liberal. Economically conservative. I'm just like middle America. You know what I mean? Like that's it. So anyway, the big setup here is going to be that move into 91,000. Maybe you can get a short right there. Now, if you are looking to enter into Bitcoin on a long, then 91,000. It's going to have to break above. If it breaks up above, then I would suspect that you would get a test back here at 91,000. So I would open a long at 91,000, but I would, again, just like I told you yesterday, I would wait for the surge and then wait for it to come back down into this range, because all those buy orders right there, those also represent a significant level of support. So that's what I think is going to happen right now is bump, 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 bump. Let's do this. You know what? We're going to pop this down and we're going to go to Twitter. And we're going to pop this in. Bang. Oh, by the way, hope you guys saw my last meme, because I was hilarious. I don't think I can show it here. You know what? If I'm looking at my Twitter account, I can do that, right? All right. So anyway, what's happening? Bitcoin probably hitting 91K shortly, then a back test around 87K, then a breakout to around 100K soon. All right, so that's the idea. I think that's what's going to end up happening. And in case you guys didn't, if you didn't get to see it, then here, allow me to be funny. So if anybody read the news about Kanye over the last 24 hours, Kanye is spiraling out. Guys, make sure you hit the like button on your way in. I appreciate every one of you for taking the time to come in. But I just, funny. Don't forget, by the way, if you sign up for weeks and you make a deposit of $50, you're going to get a $35 coupon. $300, you're going to get a $45 coupon. These are futures amounts. That's what you get in order to do a trade. And then if you do volume over here, then you're going to get a big bonus over there as well. So, actually, I should probably get rid of that because that's the old one. The new one is actually better. Here you go. So if you make a deposit of 200, you're going to get a coupon for $40 in futures to use, which you can use for a trade setup like we just did. If you put in 1,000 and maintain it for 3 consecutive days, you're going to get $200 USDT. If you put in 5,000, you're going to get 1,000. If you put in 10,000, you're going to get 2,000. So all you have to do is sign up at weeks and start trading today, and you can earn a significant amount of money just by signing up. So, and weeks, by the way, non-KYC, which means that you don't have to give them your personal details and personal information. You don't get compromised, if you will. So Bitcoin, that's where we are on Bitcoin. Let's move over to Ethereum and let's talk about what's going on with Ethereum. Before we get started on the chart, this is what the news is, and this is not good for Ethereum. Ethereum investors capitulate. Prominent crypto giant sells ETH to buy Solana. And this is Galaxy Digital. Galaxy Digital, Mike Novogratz, one of the large holders of Ethereum, has been dumping ETH. But the problem for people is not only have they been selling ETH, they've been buying Solana. Now, I don't know if they did this before. I don't have any context for that. I don't know if they've done it before. So this might be something that is common. Okay. Solana is, by the way, pumping, but here's the thing. This right here tells me that ETH is about to dump, right? ETH is pumping right along with Solana. So what they're doing right now has very little impact. Do we remember the conversation that we just had about why you can't trust the media? They're telling you right now, dump your ETH. You know what I'm saying? Like it doesn't make very much sense. Now, that's not to say that Galaxy Digital isn't onto something. That's not to say if I were to make a bet at this point, remember, we have some predictions for Solana. We have some predictions for Ethereum. And our prediction for Solana was that Solana was going to make up ground versus Ethereum. So in the event that we're making that guess and we're trying to create this narrative, right, then we can expect that Ethereum goes to 8,000, 10,000, maybe to 12,000, just maybe. And that is at best from where we are about a 6x. So that's maybe 7. However, Solana has a more tremendous upside because we've kind of said that we think that Solana is in the 1,200 range by the end of this, and that puts Solana at about a 10x. Now, if Galaxy Digital is agreeing with us and saying that they really think the same thing, that there's going to be a bigger pump and bigger opportunity with Solana because that ecosystem is growing while the Ethereum ecosystem is not growing to the same level, then there you have it. That's why this move is being made. So what does that mean for Ethereum? Well, short term, I don't think it means anything. I don't think it really matters that much. Like I told you over here, ultimately, Ethereum is on its way up. Now, the problem, in so much as there would be a problem, is we've seen this pump and we haven't had that breakout, and we've not gotten a confirmation of the breakout over that trend line yet. What we're looking for is that confirmation. Now, Solana confirmed, not only confirmed, but it's already broken out even further. Bitcoin, not only did it break out, but we've confirmed that it's heading up further. Ethereum, not so much. Ethereum is still behind the game. Now, 6 weeks from now, everything changes fundamentally about Ethereum. And why is that? Well, because in 6 weeks, I'm pretty sure that Paul Atkins is going to approve staking for the Ethereum products. And if Ethereum is allowed to be staked in the ETF, then that means that you can earn massive yield by securing the Ethereum network without having to do anything. That is another opportunity for growth in your portfolio if you're one of these ETF bros. So it's coming, and May the 6th, I want to say, sometime around there is when we expect to see the Pectra upgrade. So I do think that Ethereum is ready for and primed to break out. Now, here's the issue. The fact that it's not breaking out quickly, and we haven't had a surge that's given us just a move here that basically that means that there's really no narrative right now on Ethereum. So we need to capture a narrative. We capture a narrative and get up here over 1700, then we can start talking about, a back test and then a move. So if you're doing some kind of setup at this point, I would probably be shorting from right here, assuming that it's going to come back down into that 1600 range. Not a lot of profit on that, but that seems to be what the move would be. Upside momentum probably gets rejected right here at about 1750. So if you're going to make a play, then these are going to be the moves. Okay. We're at the inflection point. Again, we're at the inflection point right now where, decision time for Ethereum. Where's it going to go? Now, again, there's this little tail end over here that shows me that spot right there at 1750. That's going to be the problem area. So let's do this. We're longing right there to 1760. We're going to call it 1750 actually by the time we're done. But and actually, you know what? Let's go ahead and do that. By the way, if you ever do this and you're looking at this, just go to the coordinates over here and you put 1750 in, and then boom, it will move it there for you. And then if you want to, you can always add some text to it. 750 short-term target. So 1750 short-term target, download image, and booyakasha. Long Ethereum to 1,750. All right, so I'm going to get better at this as the days go by. You know what I mean? To do this, but for right now, we're just going to keep it as simple as I possibly can. So that's what's going on with Ethereum. Let's move on to Solana, 143.61 right now. Solana breaking to the top of that range. What's going to happen? Well, over and over and over again, what is it doing? It's breaking up to the top of the range, breaking back down to the bottom of the range. So what I would recommend at this point is let's draw this out a little bit further. Let's draw this out just a little bit further. For some reason, I want to stick that top right there. That seems to be the flow. If you are in Solana right now, I mean, basically 147 seems to me like it's going to be that local top. Most likely more like 146 is going to be that basic top right there, and you'll get right there. And then what you'll do is down to 141 at best or something like that. Like that's what I would say is probably going to happen over the next couple of days. Tight range. Now, if it doesn't happen and we get a breakout, then let's zoom out here, and that makes sense right here. You can see that's the top over here of this range, which means that this makes sense that the next impulse move goes to this 146, 147 range, and then getting up to the top of this range at 150 is going to be the next one. And then your resistance really locally 160 167. So, and by the way, that's crazy to be looking at this on the hour and trying to figure this shit out. Whew. All right. There we go. 160. That's better. That makes a lot more sense. All right. So right here at 161. All right. So ultimately, if you can get in on the bottom of this run, and you're not at the bottom of this run right now, by the way. So if you're in already, stay in and set a sell at $162, something like that. If you're not, then I would say this is going to surge up here a few more bucks to 146, probably going to dip back down into the 141, 142 range, set a buy order at maybe 142 on a long position with low leverage, and then just ride it up to 161, 162. The market looks like that's what it's doing. By the way, we'll go back and we'll look at global liquidity when we get done. Now, Solana, big players signal a potential price surge. And again, what is the big player that's signaling a price surge? It's the same thing. Galaxy Digital. Galaxy Digital is making this move. Galaxy Digital making this move is actually going to help Solana basically secure their network, which is, I mean, it's what we want, right? We want to secure the network. So this move, I think, is going to continue. I think this is the notice that everybody needed for Solana to know that it was actually going to break out. So we'll see what happens over the next couple of days, but that's what I would be doing right now. If you can set a long, wait for the play, wait for it to finish, wait for the move to finish, wait for the profit taking to finish a little bit, and then boom. Okay. And then right here, Jesus fucking Christ, did we call this one or what? Okay, so we didn't get 100%. We didn't get 100%, but it broke down right here. But anyway, I thought we were going to 218 before we broke down, ended up breaking down. I told you it would settle right in this range, and that's exactly where we are right now, or at least that's where we settled, and now it's on its way back up. So we didn't finish our move. Now, that means that this little range right there, it's going to have to break out above this range, or we're going to come back down right to about $2. So for XRP looks like it's ready for this continuation right here to 218 to finally finish that move. Then I would say it's going to probably come back down again. We're going to set that one more time and see if we're not right about that. So XRP going long up to 218 and then retest back to 210. So right now, if you are interested, then set a buy order. As a matter of fact, let's take a shot here. Let's set a buy order for XRP for 210. XRP. Let's finna live our truth, dog, on the serious tip, and I'm just being for real with you on God. Or what? So we're going to go 5X there. We're going to take it on a order here for 210. And we're going to do $25. All right. So we're going to set a long order at 210 and see if we don't get a little bit of a dip back down, a little bit of an opportunity to accumulate right there. And boom. All right. So we got a long setup right there for an order. And then we've still got our OM there at 50 cents. So, yep, that works for me. All right. So Move, by the way, just to give you guys an update on Move, the funding rate has gone way down. So I'm going to be hoping that this is a reversal here and we're going to get an opportunity to use this to exit. Don't want to get liquidated, but I mean, you know, it could happen. 16 cents is where my liquidation point is. And it's 121 that I've got into the Move when I could put more in and I could say to you guys, hey, you know what? I think that this thing is going to rip and I could just pull some of the other one and throw some in to do some kind of, you know, some, you know, just try to DCA my way down. Problem with it is I'm just not sure at this point. I'm just really not. I'm really not sure at this point whether this is going to reverse or, you know what I mean? Like, again, I took this originally with a 2X at 42 cents because I thought there's not really much of a chance of a liquidation at that point. with 2x leverage. This thing seems to be moving, and then the market capitulated. So I've earned $22. Again, I've earned $22 off of basically $100 just by holding the long. So, I really kind of thought that if I could just do this, and by the way, if this maintains in a negative funding rate, like it is right now, if it maintains at a negative funding rate and it continues to just kind of idle around this range, eventually I'll just make enough realized P&L that it's going to offset whatever my potential loss is. Or if I get just a tiny bit of a surge back up into this 30-cent range, I could probably exit on a good one. So I'm going to, fingers crossed, wait for that one. In the meantime, I've still got my Ethereum set here at 1605. We're at 1648 right now. Again, it's only 5x long. We're only doing $25 each one of these times, and we can only have $25 in Bitcoin at any point. And we didn't hit our Bitcoin buy, so we took that one out. All right, so we got set up at XRP at 210. We'll see whether or not that gets triggered or not. I don't like XRP doesn't seem to be surging at this point. So I think just kind of like Ethereum right now, it just kind of seems like it's idling sideways. So maybe we get a little dip down here. Maybe we get a little opportunity. And if we do, then I think it's gonna really surge. So the news for XRP, 37.7 million in weekly ETP flows amid a tepid market. That sounds to me like a pretty good number. Like that sounds like people are at least interested in XRP to the extent that institution is trying to get in. Okay, so I do believe that we'll probably see we're about ready to see a surge on XRP as well, and we'll probably get a lot of value extracted out of that. Now let's move on to OM, because I do want to talk about OM today. So as most of you know, I bought OM thinking that this thing is going to recover. And I think that it's going to recover. Why do I think it's going to recover? Because this just happened. Mantra Chain, OM, just unbonded 150 million tokens, and they release in 8 days. They're going to burn 150 million tokens. Now, before we get into this, too far, what is happening is JP Mullen, the founder, John Mullen, he's burning 150 million of his allocated tokens to calm this market. Okay. And he's agreed to do it, and he's already unbonding them so that he can do it. So this part is out of the way. We've got 150 million tokens burned. Are you excited? Well, don't get too excited about price action, because these are tokens that are not in the circulating supply. This doesn't affect the price. We're not reducing that circulating supply in any appreciable way. In fact, if you look at the circulating supply right now, the circulating supply is total supply is 1.81 billion. Circulating is 949 million. Now, if you were burning 150 million from the circulating supply, oh shit. You know what I mean? If you're burning, by the way, I'm going to get to it in just a second. If you're burning something else, then, oh my goodness. Well, the oh my goodness is actually here, because guess what? Mantra is now burning 150 million tokens. However, another 150 million is under consideration and discussion with ecosystem partners, potentially cutting the total supply by 300 million OM. That isn't symbolic. That is strategic. I'm not sure about that part, but that's a really good idea. And Matt Hall says, not when you have an infinite max supply. All right. And that is a fair assumption here. But again, circulating supply. And by the way, you can see it over here. Max supply is infinite. So they can just mint more if they need to. Now that presents a problem. It only presents a problem for babies, Jeets who are not going to make it, crybabies, whiners. They don't care what Mantra does. They don't give a shit about the fundamental use case for Mantra or anything else. What they care about is, and that's going to pump my bag. Is it going to make me a lot of money? That's what they're doing. By the way, that is me So, when I say that and I do that, I try to be funny, but also honestly, I mean, give me a pump too, biatch. You know what I mean? So, uh, total supply 1.81 billion. It would be nice to see it go down to 1.5 billion, but again, unless it affects the circulating supply, that's not going to add value to your token. It's just going to add trust into what's going on. And then if they stop minting and the supply is no longer infinite in some way, fix that as well. Not that it's broken, but everybody has their own way of doing things. But, if you can do that, then you're also creating another opportunity. So OM, what to do here? Well, I bought more. As a matter of fact, I took whatever money I had in USDT. I had it in USDT today. So now I have this. I'm down $168, by the way, overall. If you look at this right now, I'm down 25%, $168.63 dollars. And I'm not worried. My average cost right now is 70.76 cents. What I think is going to happen is I think it's going to surge to about $1.20. So if it does a surge to $1.20, then I'll probably sell it all, or at least I'm going to let it sit for right now until it gets back to my entry point. I'm going to accumulate in DCA until it gets to my spot, and then $1.20 I'll probably sell. But if it looks strong at $1.20, if I'm looking at it and I like what I see, I mean, we might let it ride up to $3 or $4 if it goes there. I'm not saying that it'll go there, by the way. But here's the other part, and this is the fundamental part that a bunch of dingbats just don't fucking understand, right? It was trading for a year now at around this level to begin with, like this breakout sort of thing. This, all this shit's right here. It's just got to break out above this range right here, and then the next move is to $1.25, something like that. Ultimately, I think $3 or $4 is, I don't know if it breaks out above this, but somewhere in that $4 range, I do think is a good opportunity. That's about a 6x on that bag from here. If it can make a move like that, it's going to take a lot, because here's the thing to remember. There were a couple of different whales that were scamming their way through it to try to, like those are the people that sold. They got, one of them got wrecked because he was longing it and trying to long it. And look, the exchange attacked him, and the exchanges have not apologized or anything. They've just said, you got to be careful. Fucking scumbags, man. Binance and OKX are the fucking worst. Okay. They are wrecking you, and they are stealing your money. God damn it. I can't believe that people don't see it. Like that's the part that just drives me out of my mind. Like, I can't believe that people don't fucking see it. Anyway, let's move on to DevE. DevE, we're not losing confidence in DevE, but some people are. And what we're seeing right now is just a run on price. Now, what we wanted to see over the last couple of days, this right here, good. This right here, good. This right here, good. This right here, good. This right here, bad. Because what we've done is we had this upward trend, and now we're breaking back down, which means that confidence has been lost. And look, I've got some, I don't have insider information, not on their team anymore, but I am, I'm a big fan. I'm holding a big bag, waiting for something big to happen. I do understand the big thing that is about to happen, but there's a lot of time before it gets there. And if I look at it from this context, then I could see this thing again consolidating in this range all the way down to 50 cents, which we've got right there. So, you're going to have to decide for yourself what your risk tolerance is for this. And to be fair, not for nothing, but if you had $20,000 in DevE and you sold it last night, and then you bought Butthole, you're up 27%. So if you kind of move out of it, I understand, but don't forget that this is going to be one of the biggest, by the end of this, in my opinion, it's going to be one of the biggest projects that there's ever been. That this is a paradigm shift in the way centralized exchanges work. So, we shall see whether or not we get any kind of really good surge out of it. What I would like to see, I think investor confidence would get peaked if we get into Doesn't even have to be an all-time high, by the way, just right here, just right in this little $1.20 sort of range right there. You break into that sort of range right there and get to like this little box. Again, not even the top. The top is over here. But you get into that little range again, you inspire confidence. And here's the thing. The whales, look, people don't, the chart doesn't come down like this because the whales are confident. Does that make sense? And you can look at it, you can say, hey, you know what? I'm in the whale chat. There's a bunch of confident whales. I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about the silent ones who are not talking about it every day. The silent ones who are just buying like, I'm going to hold this floor forever. They're not. They're just looking for a price pump. You know, they came in right here. They came in right here. They got out right here. And when they didn't get out right here, and they're like, maybe it's going to reverse, and it didn't reverse, then they got out right here. The point is, yeah, it doesn't really matter. What matters is that confidence, that overall confidence. And to be fair, like here's why you're starting to see that confidence wane in these people. They need to be constantly stimulated. Okay, that really is the truth. And here's what's going on. Yesterday, Devi put out this post, which basically said secure, scalable, secure compliance. The same thing. We talked about it yesterday, right? There's nothing else since then. If you look at the Devi exchange, then a couple of hours ago, they're going to release today at noon, 4 p.m. UTC, the YouTube video on the keynote with Ray Quintana and Paul Barreau. And Paul Barreau is the president of Banque de l'Obac, or the vice president, or whatever his position is. But they're going to release that video, so you'll be able to listen to what it was that they said. Now, let's hit refresh on it, and 1,543 views, which means it's not going to get a lot of traction. This is not going to attract a lot of users. The way that you're going to attract a lot of users is you got to have an announcement. You got to have an announcement of partners with new buyers that can step in. You know, let me just give you an example here, just to clarify. You know what? You guys are, many of you are Devi holders. You guys have been buying. You know, I told you at 12 cents. I told you at 40 cents. If I did and you did, you're up big. Like you're living it right now. You've had a nice little surge. Now, if you didn't and you're looking for an opportunity to get in, I can't tell you what to do. I can tell you that you should, in my opinion. But this is a community. This community is saturated with Devi holders. No other communities are not saturated with Devi holders. And that's the point. There has to be a reach out for new eyes to be staring at Devi. So, and by the way, there are some things that are being worked on for that to happen. But until that happens, Devi price is going to struggle until there's an announcement, until there's an establishment of confidence, until there's a reason for people to be like, oh my God, I need to buy more, until you can get all of these crazy, crazy millionaires, you know, these crazy, crazy, crazy millionaires out here, these crazy, crazy millionaires to buy $1 million worth of Devi, till you can get these crazy, crazy, crazy millionaires. I'm not saying that anybody's crazy or a millionaire. I'm not saying it. I'm just saying that until you get those guys to buy more, there's a cap on the price. Do you see what I'm saying? So we'll see whether or not we get some surge or not. Just going to take a little bit, just a little bit longer. Do you know if you can send DevE from DeFi Coinbase wallet to your regular Coinbase account, or will you lose them? Well, you can, because it's supported by the, and by the way, you can't trade it if you send it to your Coinbase account. So it wouldn't make any sense to do that whatsoever. I would not do. As a matter of fact, it was probably going to be, they're probably going to tell you it's an unsupported resource until they support it. Actually, that's what I think would happen. Look, the Coinbase is going to scam you in any way they can to steal from you and to take the fact that you put your liquidity and entrusted it in their hands. They're going to use that shit on you. So I would leave it in the DeFi wallet. It is paired with Ethereum, so it will work for a transfer. But again, you can't extract any value out of it on the Coinbase exchange until they support it. And what they do have to do is they have to put the contract in. They have to have a smart contract to execute on it and provide liquidity, because they're, you know, centralized. So there's no liquidity for DevE, so it's worthless in that wallet. So leave it in your DevE, in your DeFi Coinbase wallet for now. That would be my recommendation, or put it on a ledger or something like that. Anything that supports ERC-20. And that was to answer that question right there. But again, until there's liquidity for Coinbase, then there's no reason to move it into Coinbase. But I digress. Anyway, so they're going to have to do something to inspire confidence. Otherwise, it's just going to continue to bleed. And there's going to be people. And by the way, we're not even at we're not even that the babies are fudding the project yet. Like, we're not even at that spot. You know what I mean? And to be fair, like, I can wish that I could have a crystal ball right now where I knew that it was going down to like 10 cents, for sure, because I would sell everything right now and just wait for 10 cents and set a buy order. And by the way, if you're looking to set a buy order, for anybody who doesn't know how to do this, and you're in DeFi, Uniswap, you can set buy orders on. So this is very simple, but a lot of people don't even know. But so you come over here, you're on here. I'm not connected because I don't have any wallets connected to this computer. So sorry, hackers. Hook you. Anyway, then you come over here to a limit order. Now, what you're looking for is when ETH is worth a certain amount, this is what you're going to do. And then you're going to hit sell or buy. Okay. That's the goal. So in the event that you're doing that, you're going to put this in here for DevE, and you're going to say when DevE is worth whatever amount, like, for example, I want to set a buy order when DevE is worth 0.5. Oops, we're gonna sell USDC to buy DevE when DevE is worth 50 cents. So right there, we could set a buy order and we could put in, 5,000 in USDC, right? And then all you have to do is set it, and then if you hit that number, boom, you're in profit. Like, you've made your buy order, and ta-da, you don't have to do anything. You're not leveraging your position or anything like that. So that's how you accomplish that. Now, the other thing is, if you decide that, what I want to do is I want to accumulate that, and you get that, well, then you come over here and you say, when DevE is worth $4, I'm going to sell it back for $20,000. So it's the tab over here is limit. Now, here's the problem, okay? Because you're looking at it this way. If you do it with Ethereum, it gets all janky, because now it says when DevE is worth 0.3 of 36, fucking, like, Jesus Christ, come on. So, it to me, I would use USDT or I would use USDC because it's easier that way, because most of these things are stabled and pegged that way. Just make sure you have some USDT and USDC in your wallet in order to do that. Remember, it's a double transaction because you don't buy based on USDC and USDT. There is a fee for that, but the fees for Ethereum right now are less than $1. So who gives a shit? You know what I mean? Like, just make your buy. Anyway, so if you want to, you can buy that way. Now, let's keep moving on. Luna Classic. Luna Classic, there's really no catalyst right now or any bullish narrative that's happening. So you're not seeing a good, solid, crazy pump. You're going to need to see something wild happen. And we're just not there. We're just not there. But as you can see, we're still continuing this move right here. And I fully expect to see this go 3x from where it is right now before we kind of settle into whatever happens next. So I think a nice little surge and a nice little 3x is coming over the next couple of days. So we'll see whether I'm right or not. In the meantime, there's one more thing, and I move this up here, and that is Crow. Now, you guys know that I said a couple days ago, and this is, if you're looking to trade Crow right now, this is a great time. It's a great time to accumulate Crow. Why? Well, they just announced that Trump Media and Crypto.com Yorkville are finalizing an agreement for an ETF launch. So Trump Media signed a binding agreement to partner with Crypto.com and Yorkville America Digital to launch a series of exchange-traded funds and exchange-traded products through the Truth.fi brand. Now, I don't know what they're going to be. The ETFs are planned to launch alongside a slate of separately managed accounts, the ETFs and SMA, both of which TMTG is planning to invest in via its own cash reserves, are part of the TMTG financial and fintech strategy, using up to $250 million to be custodied by Charles Schwab. So now you've got an ETF for Donald Trump, which, if the Trump meme coin becomes part of it, guys, I'm telling you right now, Trump meme coin is going to 100 billion. Like, you guys are not bullish enough on the Trump meme coin. Okay. Again, I don't like him. but it doesn't matter what I like. It matters, can I make money? You know what I mean? So when Devi rips and I want to sell of my DeFi Coinbase wallet, where should I go if you can't sell it off of regular Coinbase account? You would sell it out of your DeFi wallet. I just showed you Uniswap. That's how you buy and sell in your Coinbase wallet anyway. I mean, basically Uniswap. So Uniswap would be that would be where you sell. You could go to MEXC. You can go to wherever, whatever centralized exchange supports Devi. But I mean, you're in DeFi. And by the way, one of the biggest problems with Devi is it doesn't have enough exchanges. And since they are an exchange themselves, they're not really worried about it. Now, in 3 weeks or 3 weeks, Jesus Christ, within 3 months, let's just say probably about 2 months. About 2 months from now, Devi is going to launch Dev Exchange. And I mean, Jesus Christ, at that point, you just buy and sell on Dev Exchange because Devi will be moved over here and the predominant liquidity would be available on the Dev Exchange, I would think. Now, I'm not sure if that's going to be the case or not. Also, if you haven't already, in my down below, you can sign up for Devi, and boom, you're gonna get some experience. You're gonna get some raffle tickets. You're gonna get a founders pack. There is a link down below. I don't know what any of this stuff is going to be or what it's going to mean. I don't know if it's going to be any money or not. I don't know if just being in Dev Exchange is going to make me, I don't know if the founders pack's worth anything. I don't know. You know what I mean? They seem to think so. So I'm going to trust these guys for the moment. And look, you're not going to make $1 million off of founders pack, but what if there's an NFT that becomes just priceless over time? What if it's an NFT that allows you to reverse a transaction or something like that in case you get hacked? Or what if it's something that I'm not even thinking about right now? You know what I mean? Like, so I don't know what it is. I don't know what this experience can be used for. I don't know what these raffle tickets are going to be used for, but there is a plan. So sign up for Dev Exchange, use the link in the description down below, complete all of the tasks, which basically like follow Dev Exchange, watch a video, stuff like that. Once you've done all this kind of stuff, then you get these rewards. So, and then, by the way, Captain Mo, then you would be able to just, use Dev Exchange for everything from that point forward. Now, let's talk about your let me get over here because I want you to see your butthole. All right. Here is your butthole. There are many buttholes like it, but this is your butthole coin. Now, butthole coin broke out of its trend line. I told you guys I'm bullish on it, that I think it's going to have a breakout moment. It's having a breakout moment right now. Solana is ripping. That cascade of money has not come into butthole coin, by the way. It's still kind of sitting there in this, like there's not tons of capital flowing into all of these Solana meme coins. There's a few people kind of buying a little bit right now. It's just the way it works. It'll happen later. We'll start to see a little bit of a rally. So, but for right now, butthole's up 26%. So there is some buying happening, and that's happening because of fart coin and because the butthole, you can't have the fart without the butthole, and all that kind of stuff. Butthole and fart coin, we go together like and waffles. And they're doing funny. You boys buy any butthole coin, bro? We thought you died. Just having fun. Don't be offended. Don't cry. Jesus fucking Christ. You know what I mean? Focus on the butthole. For anybody who doesn't know. So and look, they're having hilarious. I mean, they are having hilarious times with this. And look, shout out to them. The question is, can they get traction with it? Well, they got 23,500 people following this project right now, and a fart cannot exist without a butthole. Fart coin is ripping right now, so why shouldn't the butthole rip just a little bit? Oh God, it's the greatest. It's one of the greatest gifts to comedy that's ever existed. So anyway, API 3 is up 3% right now. We're not going to talk about that. We're not going to have time to talk about that. It's, again, just like yesterday, it's just still kind of in range. So I want to see it break out above here, get some confidence, to $1.15, $1.16 before we start making a move on that one. Otherwise, we're just going to hold it on spot, which is what we're doing. Move is at 23. I don't know if that's the bottom. This right here looked like the bottom. and then it went down another 10 cents. You know what I mean? So I don't know if it goes down any further or not. If this is the reversal, then I would expect that it'll move up here into this kind of range here fairly quickly, but I don't know yet. You know, we'll see whether or not it does. As far as the rest of it, Dow Jones up 793. Trump is up 7% today. Again, it's a lot of that's pairing. Ondo up 5%, Arrow's up 7.5%, Conflux up 2.5%, Fetch is up 1.5, HBAR's up 4.5, Aave's up 6.5, Cardano's up 6%, Bonk is up 12% on the day, Casp is up 10% on the day, Matic, the new Pol is up 9% on the day, Radium's up 10%, Tars AI is up 12. Jesus, god damn it. You know what? Tars AI, to me, this is the only AI in the Solana Foundation. 2 days ago, 3 days ago, something like that, it was down here, and I was like, you know what? God damn it, I should really buy right now. I should just like flip a bunch of shit over into Tars AI because I thought that it was going to have a breakout moment, and damn, it didn't. You know what I mean? Yeah, man, that dude. Any news on Pepe meme? Any new Pepe meme killer news? Actually, for those of you that are wondering, I do have some news on Pepe meme killer. They wanted me to do a new promo video, and I didn't do it yet. They reached out to me, and they said, "Hey, man, we want you to do some more videos." And they made me a proposal, and I said, "Yeah, I can agree to that." Like that, you know, it was just an idea. It was something that they wanted to do, something different. It was an opportunity for me. And I said, you know what, I'll do it. Just let me know when you want to do it. And they're like, well, we want the market to cook just a little bit before we make that move. So you might see something in the next little while. I think basically what everybody's waiting for, we're at 2.8 trillion right now. Okay. What everybody's waiting for is this move right here to 3 trillion. Okay. Now that we're at that 2.8, we'll see if it rejects or not, but I think a lot of people are waiting for 3 trillion, which is right, right there. A lot of these meme coins, a lot of these things, they want that 3 trillion market cap again, because then that's going to show some investor confidence. You want to see a surge up here, and you want to see a break into that area right there, and that will bring a lot of capital back into the market. 200 billion in market cap, by the way, and that'll be a lot of capital back into the market. And if that happens, then I think these things will start to rip. And back to coin market cap for the first time today. Tether still at 145 billion market cap. USDC at 61 billion market cap. There is a ton of capital sitting on the side right now that's just waiting to enter this market. And remember, RLUSD continues to accumulate. Where was that? It was down here a little bit. Are we at that spot? There's the PayPal USD has almost $1 billion right now. You know what? I don't see it. So, oh my God, I just scrolled with my finger all the way to the top of the page like a fucking loser. All right, RLUSD. Yeah, I don't have anything on that, man. I'm not even going to worry about it. Anyway, there's a lot of money sitting out here just kind of blindly waiting to enter this market. And when it is time, it's going to go fucking bonkers. And boom. Hey, guys, we just got a breakout on Ethereum. Ethereum's up 7. Actually, Ethereum is surging right now. It's up 7.5%. You are watching it real time right now. There it is. This is on the 5-minute candles. You are looking at 5-minute breakouts happening right now. So how high does Ethereum go? Well, if it surges and it continues and it hits that 1750, be a little profit taking along the way, but that's going to be some of that confirmation stuff where people are going to be like, you know what? The run is on. People need to see some value from Ethereum. That is the piece that's missing in this market right now. Also, Solana, 5-minute starting to surge as well. Bitcoin, 5-minute starting to surge as well. So Congratulations, guys. You're going to make it. Now, fear and greed index is at 47. So when it gets to 70 or 75, I'm selling. I'm and by the way, my moves are going to be, I'm going to play it by ear. I'm certainly going to play it by ear, but there might be a moment here where I just sell everything into a dip. I want to make sure that I'm into a dip, of course, because I don't want to miss any profit and gains, but there might be a moment here soon where I just, I just capitulate and fucking just sell. You know what I mean? I'll just see what happens. So let's do one final. And that is, these are our meme coins for the day. Butthole's up 18.8%. Trump is up 7%. Pepe's up 7%. Let's not do that. CC Rewards is up 4% on the day. CC's up 2.5% on the day. Volt is up 4.5% on the day. API 3, 1%. SWP's up 1%. Ponky Bone Shiba Swap up 1%. Fias down. Devi down. No one will know down. Ghostface Killer, like I said, it was dead. Like, why the fuck is it still here? I was curious about this, but I'm not curious anymore. So let's get rid of that. LFGO down 7%. So everything but Devi and Fias are pumping. So, and no one will know. And by the way, what I just told you, what I was just kind of eloquating for you, what I was just kind of illustrating for you about, these guys, like, what I'll probably do is I'll end up going over and I'll end up buying some of this other stuff right now. And I'll just sell some of my Devi because then I'm not going to miss any, those not going to make it as people. That's right now because there's no narrative. There's no driving force. There's nothing really pumping Devi right now. That's why you're seeing that happen. And you're seeing it to the entire ecosystem. No one will know is not part of the ecosystem, but a lot of people in Dev E happen to be in no one will know as their kind of meme coin of choice. So, we'll see what happens. We'll see if there's, we'll see if anything actually gets on a generational sort of run. Check your wallets. You might find something out there exploding. In the meantime, that is it. That's the show. Thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure that you do your trade setups the right way. Sign up at Week. Sign up at KCEX. Get yourself set up, by the way, at Dev Exchange. Sign up. Let me know that you did. Maybe we'll do a giveaway or something like that once you've signed up for Dev Exchange. But for now, it's not financial advice. I'm always right. I appreciate each and every one of you, and we'll talk to you again